Today we are going to estimate each sum or difference to the nearest half or whole number by rounding. We'll explain our estimate using words or a number line. Today the class decided that they liked the number line better. It was easier for them to draw a number line than to figure out a sentence to write, so that's what we're going to do. So if we look at 3 1/10 plus 1 3/4, the first thing we would do is draw two number lines, one for each fraction. And we have to figure out our benchmark numbers. So that's our whole numbers and what the halfway fraction would be. So if we look at 3 1/10 first, the whole numbers that 3 1/10 are between is 3 and 4. And our denominator is 10. So we're trying to find our halfway fraction in tenths. And so if we do 10 divided by 2, it's 5. So our halfway fraction is 5/10. So we're going to take this 1/10 and we're going to put it on the number line I just drew. So if I were to put 1/10 on here, it would be right up front, because if I drew my 10 lines, that would be where the 1 would be. 1/10 is closest to a whole number 3. So I'll be rounding 3 1/10 to 3. I'm going to do the same steps for 1 3/4. The whole numbers that 1 3/4 are in between are 1 and 2. And this time I'm working in fourths. So I'm going to do the same thing and divide 4 by 2, which would be 2. So my halfway fraction would be 2/4. And now I have to put 3/4 on there. So I might split my number line up so I can see all the dashes. So 1/4 would be here, 2/4, 3/4. So 3/4 would be there. Now 3/4 is closest to 2 wholes. So I'm going to round 1 3/4 to 2. So my new problem is 3 plus 2, and that equals 5. And I'm going to make sure it goes right on the number or the answer line. Sometimes when they have us round, they are going to give us improper fractions, so we have to change them to the mixed fraction. We know this is improper because the numerator is larger than the denominator. So we're going to take 17/3 and we have to divide to get the whole number. So 3 can fit into 17 evenly 5 times. 5 times 3 is 15. I now have to think how many I'd have to add to get to 17. 15 plus 2 equals 17, and our denominator stays the same. So our mixed number is 5 2/3. We're going to do the same thing for 15/4. 4 goes into 15 evenly 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. And if I think what plus 12 equals 15? 3. And our denominator stays the same. From here, all the steps are the same. I have to draw my number line and find my benchmark fractions. So the whole number for 5 2/3, that fraction is in between 5 and 6. And for thirds is an odd number, so we can't split it up evenly. But I can mark my number line into thirds. So I have 1/3, 2/3, and then 6 would be 3/3. So 2/3 is closest to 6. So I'm going to circle 6. Now I have 3 3/4. 3 3/4 is in between 3 and 4. And fourths is an even number, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. So my halfway fraction is 2/4. And 3/4 would be right there. 3/4 is closest to 4. So when I do my subtraction, my new problem is 6 minus 4, and that equals 2. And I'm going to make sure it also goes on the answer line.